Hello, this is Elizabeth Clare Brewington, and I am having a wonderful time with Deena, the author of The Lady of the Play, which is a theory that perhaps William Shakespeare was indeed a woman. As you know, this is Women History Month, and so we're doing a lot of women's stories. And if you go back in the past, you'll find there were composers and artists and physicians and inventors who were women who had to take a man's, be a ghost behind a man's image in order to make it anywhere. So we're talking about intellectual, smart women. And this is a beautiful book, The Lady of the Play. We encourage that you go and buy it. So we'll now have a beautiful reading. So go ahead, Deena, tell us about what you're going to be reading.
Okay, in this historical chapter, I cover each chapter that's historic. I actually use a Shakespeare quote to start each chapter. And this quote I use from Taming of the Shrew. "You have showed a tender fatherly regard to wish me wed to a half lunatic, a madcap ruffian, and a swearing jack." This is in Taming of the Shrew, Act 2 and Scene 1. Well, in my chapter, Elizabeth Trentham is being arranged for her to be married to this loathsome man, and she doesn't want to. It starts off, "I shall not, I will not." Eli stomped into the room she had shared with her sisters. The thought of being in the same room with that detestable man, let alone sharing his bed, is beyond belief. Eli flung herself on the bed next to Kate, her face flushed with fury. "Father called me a disobedient shrew." "Where is he now?" Dorothy looked at the door as if expecting her father to come storming in. "I don't know. He ordered me to my room and I think upon the proposal." Eli turned herself over and stared at the ceiling. "Did he beat you?" Kate asked, her eyes wide with concern. "No, but his tongue is made of nettles. He knows the sole aim of the Duke's son is to find a daughter of a rich man. He cares nothing for me, and certainly not I for him. Father surely has me fettered as a squirrel in a snare." She moved across the bed and rose to her feet. Her eyebrows drew together and her shoulders hunched as she began to pace, her brain alive. "Eli, for shame, you are 17 years and must marry. Else what am I to do?" "Father will not allow me to marry until you do," Dorothy said, and turned toward her little sister. Continuing, "Or Kate for that matter, unless you marry first. You have turned away many suitors for 2 years. You must marry." "Oh, go ply the needle and meddle not with me." Eli faced Dorothy, her hands on her hips. "I shall ponder this." Eli's forehead smoothed and a smile slowly emerged as she sat next to Kate, winding one of her blonde curls around her finger. "How old art thou now, sweet Kate?" "Nearly 14. Is there anyone you fancy?" "Nay," she blushed a rosy red. "Not so," piped Dorothy. "She visits Sir John Stanhope so oft by now her horse knows the way without prodding." "I pity him so." Kate turned her back on Dorothy. "His wife dying, leaving baby Philip with no mother." Kate touched Eli's hand. "He's a fine gentleman. Perchance you shall have him." "I have no desire to marry a country squire, even if he is a knight. When I marry, it shall be with a man who desires me, someone who will not forbid me should I want to continue my studies, someone who desires to travel as much as I." "Be realistic. There's no such man born who would agree to any woman being his equal. You have no choice. Father will order you to marry Sir Clifford. Have you forgotten that he will be a duke someday, and thou shalt be a duchess, wearing fine gowns, going to soiree? 'Twould be a good match. If you believe so, why don't you marry him? Perhaps you would not mind smelling the sow sweat under his armpits. You are an eligible age. Why not offer this solution to father?" "You know he would never agree. You must marry first." Dorothy turned away and began to snivel. "So that's it. You desire the smelly duke. Be gone with you and your sobs. Let me think of what I must do." Dorothy stuck her tongue out at Eli and flounced from the room, slamming the door. Eli returned to her pacing, pulling on her long red hair. Turning toward Kate, she said, "I will need mother's scissors. I saw them last in her sewing waistcoat. Can you fetch them without being seen?" "What is your plan?" "You shall see. Hurry now. It's well Francis is in Oxford." Kate tiptoed down the staircase while Eli moved quietly down the hall and entered her brother's room. She returned carrying a bundle of clothes as Kate was racing back up the stairs. Here they are. Good, Eli whispered. They entered their bedroom where Eli picked up a stool and carried it to the window. It will be dark soon, and I must hurry. Eli began to comb her hair, pulling at the snarls. Hand me the mirror and scissors. Eli balanced the mirror between her legs, pulled a lock of hair forward and cut it off just below her ear. Sister, what are you doing? You've cut your hair. Kate wrung her hands. What will mother say? Eli, you must stop. Stop blubbering and come and help me. Eli pulled at her sister's skirt. There's a method to my madness. Here, cut the rest of my hair at this length. But do as I say, or I will box your ears. Be quick about it. I must leave when it is dark. Kate took the scissors from Eli's hand and began to cry. Why so? What have you have planned? Do not cry. You know I'm capable of taking care of myself. She lowered her head as Kate snipped off her hair. I will leave home this night as a boy. I will wear Francis's old clothing and shoes, and the coins father paid me for keeping his ledgers, enough to buy food and lodging. Kate stopped snipping and grabbed Eli by the shoulders, her fingers digging into her soft flesh. What are you saying? You must not. It's not safe. What if? Hush. Give those to me. I shall finish this myself. She took the scissors from Kate's fingers and completed the haircut, her shorn hair carpeting the floor. There now, not so dreadful, Eli said as she shook her head, threading her fingers through what was left of her hair. Kate, listen to me. She stood to face her sister and looked into her eyes. Dorothy will soon be coming to bed. As soon as it's dark, I am sure she is asleep. I will leave the house through the scullery. You must not tell anyone where I have gone. Is that understood? But where are you going? To what destination? Tears coursed down her face. 'Tis best you do not know. Removing a cover from the pillow, Eli began to stuff handfuls of hair into the case. When I am gone, surely father will allow Dorothy to marry Clifford, and Sir John will make a fine husband for you someday.
Wonderful. Oh my goodness. That's so great. Yeah. So you must get this book, The Lady of the Play. It's available everywhere. It's a perfect book for anyone who's hosting an event for Women History Month. It is a theory, and it might be true, that Shakespeare indeed could have been a woman. Awesome. Great historic research. And for all of us who love Shakespeare, this is a fabulous uncovering. Thank you, Deena, for the reading, and thank you for the book.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yes.